All right, welcome. It is Friday, September 25th. Today we're going to be previewing Translating Grandfather's House, and then you're going to fill out your Friday findings and have a fantastic Friday. Remember, we are working on Standard 8.4, determining the meaning of words and phrases as they are used in a text. So what I want you to think about is I want you to think about a reality house versus a dream house. And you can do this by opening up a tab. And if you want, you could say something like typical home, maybe, or maybe you want to Google something else. And to be honest, when I look at these, I don't know if they're really that typical. Some of these look pretty fantastic, actually. So what I want you to do is I want you to skim and scan and maybe find a typical home, or maybe if you live in apartment homes. Okay, those actually look pretty fantastic too. So I want you to think about something like that, okay? And then you're going to right click it, and you're going to do, I thought I could just, oh, here we go, copy image. And then you're going to place that into your PowerPoint. Paste. Then I want you to kind of think about more like a dream home. Now you can think of whatever words that you want to use for this. If you want to think about mansions, if you want to think about whatever it is, if you want to just type in dream homes, and if you want to look and let your imagination go just a little bit. Ooh, I love this. This would be something that I would like, just lots of windows, kind of looks like a log cabin. Other people might want a little bit more bling. You know, take your time, see which one that you would, really like. Ooh, beach homes. You could click on any of these that might be appealing to you. You're going to copy that image, and then you're going to paste it in here. Now, the thing is when you kind of like get this idea of home, that kind of comes up in the story or poem that we're going to be reading in language arts. So really getting those images in your mind. So I'm going to actually read Translating Grandfather's House. Actually, you know what? I think we should pull up the vocabulary first. Get a picture in our mind about that, and then move into the actual poem. So it says Translating Grandfather's House contains allusions. So allusions is where they talk about one thing and then they mean it for something else, to multiple concepts. So it says, please research the following items and see how they connect to the poem. Okay, you know what I'm actually going to do with this? I'm going to duplicate this slide. One slide, you're going to put some pictures in here so that you get an idea about it. So I think I'm going to say, please research the following items. That's going to be in this one. And then after, I want you to tell how they connect to the poem, okay? All right, so Palomino, again, just go into your Google search, type in Palomino. Ah, it's a horse. Ooh, it's like a pretty golden horse. So whatever picture that you like of that Palomino, you know, I'm kind of going with this one here. I'm going to copy that image. I'm going to paste it in here. I think eventually. Come on. There we go. All right, maybe I'll shrink it down just a little bit. Okay. Next it says Zorro. Let's see what Zorro is. That is definitely, I think they spelt it wrong. in the PowerPoint. We had some young teachers. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to go fix that in our PowerPoint. It's funny. This is why sometimes we double check things, right? Not like a Dragon Ball Z character. That's not what he's writing about. He's writing about this Zorro. So before I put an image, because okay, fine, it shows you what that is, but you do need to know a little bit more. It says Zorro is a fictional character created in 1919 by American pulp writer Johnston McCauley. Okay, but does that really tell us who or what Zorro is? Here we go. Zorro, fictional character, Britannica. Okay, here we go. So he's masked. He always has a sword. He defends the poor against injustice. And he performs many feats which have been featured in virtually every form of media. You know, I don't know if we can quite get a good picture of Zorro unless let's see if we can find maybe a video instead. And actually, I think I'm gonna unplug my earphones. I learned that. Zorro. Let's just see what comes up. I don't want it to be like a full 25 minutes or a opening and closing themes with snippets. I think that would be good. I'm gonna unplug my earphones here for a minute. This, I think, would give us a good kind of understanding. Out of the night, when the full moon is bright, comes a horse that known as Zorro. This bold renegade carves a Z with his blade, a Z that stands for Zorro. Zorro, the fox so cunning and free. So he always rides a horse, kind of lets you know the time period. He's a fighter. And when he fights, you know he's been there. He's left his Z. He's left his mark.
I am known by many names, but you can call me Zorro.
So he's kind of like, in some ways, a Hispanic superhero. Is he gonna leave his mark on him?
Senor.
All right, I think we get the idea. All right, so I'm gonna escape and I'm gonna plug back in. That might be a good one. So maybe instead of a picture, I'm gonna copy this. And into my slides, I might say insert video. And then I right click, and I hit paste, and I hit search. I click it and I hit select. So now that video is gonna go in there for Zorro. Maybe I'll shrink it down a little bit here. All right, so now it says New York City housing projects. This is thinking about those houses again. So let's go back. New York City housing projects. Oops. All right, now we're going to hit images. So again, thinking about Zorro, they were talking kind of like about the 50s and things like that. Looking at maybe some of like these buildings, especially like maybe some of the black and white pictures and things like that. Let's see what it says with all. If there's 300, but it didn't really say like what year this was. Let me click on it and see if we can get a year. And that will kind of give us an idea. Oh, the rise and fall of the, whoa, look at that. I'm just skimming and scanning for a year. So it was an option for the working poor. Wow. Here we go, 1934 to 1968. You know what? I might even just type those words in there. The 30s to the 60s, housing for the working poor. I might actually just put the words in there. 1930s to 1960s, housing for the working poor. Okay, and I'm gonna delete this because we're gonna answer that on the different slide after we read. So this gives us some background information. Horses, okay, housing project, Zorro. Let's see what that has to do with this poem. Translating Grandfather's House by E.J. Vega. Of grandfather stone and a clapboard home, the shadow of a palomino gallops on the lip of the horizon. So this to me is thinking that it's got to be somewhere in the country or something if horses are galloping. The teacher says the house is from some Zorro movie I've seen. Ask my mom, I protest. She was born there, right there on the second floor. Crossing her arms, she moves on. Memories, once certain as rivets, become confused as awakenings in strange places, and I question the house, the horse, the wrens perched on the slat roof. The roof Oscar Jarton tumbled from on one hot Tuesday, installing a new weather vane. He broke his shin in 2 fingers. Classmates finished drawings of the New York City housing projects. Okay, so this lets me know it's taking place in a classroom. If I was to go back up here, he didn't like really like live in a mansion, but I'm kind of almost picturing like a farmhouse. Here. Farmhouse with horses, because there are some horses here, right? So if I hit images, oh, you know what? And then this is kind of, let's say somewhere between the 1930s and 50s. So let's say, I'm just gonna go 1950s, why not? Because that Zorro kind of looked like it was that too. So, oh, here we go. Maybe his house looks something like this. Okay, so he's drawing a picture of something like this. Where his friends are drawing pictures of something like this. Okay, got it. Now, his teacher was saying to him, that looks like from Zorro movie I've seen. And he's saying that memories, once as certain as rivets, become confused. He's like, wonder what she meant by that. So he's drawing this one. His classmates are drawing the New York City housing projects on Navy Street. I draw one too, with wild grass rising from the sidewalk cracks like windows. In big round letters, it says, Grandfather's House. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. It's not really, so at first, he draws a house that is like this, but I don't think the teacher believes him. She might be a little prejudiced. She might think, well, maybe if you're Hispanic or something like that, you probably live in here, especially if your classmates live in here. And I guess he didn't want to offend the teacher. So instead, he starts drawing something like this. And only then, notice, oopsie, only then, beaming, the teacher scrawls an A plus in the corner and tapes it to the blackboard. All right, so that's kind of an interesting little poem about how, and you know what, I can actually relate to this a little bit. You know, my grandfather, well, my mother was born in the 1950s, and my grandfather obviously was an adult during this time, and you know, he wasn't always the most understanding person. On the other hand, there was a lot of propaganda, which I think you'll learn in social studies, that was distributed during that time that almost brainwashed people in some ways to be racist. And if you think about it, there was like a war going on in the 1940s. And so there was a lot of propaganda about if people are different from you, you shouldn't like them, you should attack them, you should do these things. So, you know, a lot of people can say that racism, that people who are racist are bad, but then you have to go back and think, why? Why are they that way? So tell how they connect to the poem. So a palomino kind of helps the reader understand the setting, right? That it kind of like takes place more on a farm. And if you want to take it that level higher, you say, and not a city. And if you want to go a level higher than that, so now we're at like a level 3, like his schoolmates live in. Okay, that's like a higher level answer. So Zorro, this one you would really have to infer a little bit. So Zorro, so let's start like this, is a Hispanic character. And I bet, if I'm being honest, it was probably played by a white person. I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that. I would have to research a little bit more. So Zorro is a Hispanic character. So now this is where you have to infer. You have to go back to the text. It says, the teacher says this house is from some Zorro movie I've seen. So here you have to infer that she thinks he's lying. So here's one clue. She says, oh, I bet he just saw it from a movie and he's drawing it from a movie. And then I say, ask my mom, I protest. She was born there. Then the teacher crosses her arms, like, stop giving me attitude, young man, right? She's not satisfied with this answer. So that crossing of the arms lets him know that she doesn't believe him. That's actually a body language thing. When somebody crosses their arms, they're like protecting themselves. And then he says, memories which were once clear become confused. He's like, I don't get it. Okay, so this one you really have to infer. Zorro is a Hispanic character. That's like the first level, okay? The teacher thinks that the student is using an image from his show or movie. I don't remember what it was, right? Okay, so that's taking it to that other level. Let's take it another step further. This is important because he was recalling what his grandfather's house was really like. Okay. And if I really wanted to take it even higher than that, I might say something like, the teacher didn't think his grandfather could afford something like that when his classmates lived in a poor area. Okay, now I don't know what his classmates were like. We don't know anything else about his classmates. So I can't really say if, you know, they're any other ethnicity or culture. So we'll just leave it there because it doesn't say. New York City housing projects. Again, this is something we need to infer. We need to take what's in the text, what it doesn't say there, and we have to make some educated guesses. So it says, oh, I didn't want to go here. I wanted to go back. It says that the New York City housing projects was housing for the working poor. I'm going to say housing for the working poor, copy. Now, if I go back in here, it says something about other students, classmates. Classmates were finishing drawing of the New York City housing projects. So you're going to assume that his classmates live in these housing projects, okay? His classmates live there, okay? If you want to take it a level higher, we can assume they were poor. But he may not be. And then again, if we go back and look at that based on his grandfather's house. Okay? So congratulations, you're getting a little preview on how to create mental images to help you understand text, and then take those other pieces from the text and complete the picture. That's the skill for inferencing. Don't forget to fill out your Friday finding and have a great weekend. Bye.